What's up guys, Failure Living here, with an Outriders video, hopefully the first of many. And so, while I'm waiting for the game to launch, I've played the demo quite a lot. In fact, I've somewhere around like 100 or so hours on it just as the demo, and I've come to the realization that I'm going to be maining the Pyromancer. If you don't know, it's all about fire, explosions, fun stuff, makes you feel like you're a wizard, and it's been more of an ability based character of the four playables. And so I thought, well, might as well make a build. I'm gonna theory craft. I like theory crafting in most of the games that I play, and a lot of times it turns out right. A lot of the times it turns out wrong. We don't have access to level 30. We're only at level 7. We have 2 skill points. Um, So right now we have no way of knowing except for like little clips that they've shown, some of what people have like imtashed have gotten access to um, through being like ambassadors. And with that, I thought, well, I'll theorycraft. So I've come up with like pretty much 4 builds um, for the characters that I can think of. Um, one in each skill tree, 2 being in this middle Firestorm. And if you like them, if you don't like them, let me know in the comments. Let me know what your thoughts are, who you're gonna be playing, if you're excited for it. Just let me know. So for the first one that we're gonna go with is gonna be a ability based, but more so weapon based for the explosive skills. The explosive skills, if you don't know, are thermal bomb, which you mark an enemy, you kill them within a certain amount of time, and then if you kill them, then they explode. The explosion does a lot of damage. Um, there are mods where you can have 2 thermal bombs. When a thermal bomb detonates, enemies around them are afflicted by ash, which is CC, or they're afflicted by burn, which not a lot of things live if they're near that explosion. So yeah, it does big damage. Second one is overheat, which any burns that you have out on the field from your skills on enemies, you use this. It does a big radius like heat wave, and if enemies aren't burning, then they just get hit by a little bit of damage. But if they are burning, it consumes that burn and will receive a lot of damage instead. It's a big burst. Um, and then the final one is Eruption, which is the last skill you unlock. We don't have it yet. From what I've seen, it's just a big explosion underneath an enemy. Does damage in a large radius. Um, we haven't seen like comparisons between Eruption and Thermal Bomb. I'm imagining Thermal Bomb might be a bit more damage, considering you need to get a bit, you have to actually kill an enemy for the explosion to go off, whereas this is just an explosion. So hopefully the trade-off there is thermal bomb being a lot of damage compared. Otherwise it would make thermal bomb kind of useless to have if you can just trigger an explosion. That does more damage. So anomaly power, which increases our skill power, is going to be the first node that we can take. We're going to take skill cooldown and increase skill damage against our marked enemies. Again, marked enemies are the ones that are damaged by our skills. When you use overheat, everything becomes marked pretty much because everything gets damaged. It might not be a lot of damage if they're not burning, but they still get marked, which means after that they're going to take more damage from whatever source, your weapons, your other skills, whatever. This one, however, is just skill damage. We're going to boost anomaly power again. This one, activating explosive skill increases weapon damage by 45%. So, kind of explanatory. Activate your explosive ability, your weapons are almost going to be doing 50% increased damage for 10 seconds afterwards. That's a big buff. We're going to pick up increased skill damage against marked again, to give our thermal bomb a bit more damage, and whatever other um, skills we have. Increase damage by 20% against enemies below 30% health. So this isn't going to be really important for your small trash enemies, because those are going to die really fast. This is going to be more so for your elite enemies, so your captains or what other enemies are out there that are um, that can cast those abilities that are a bit more of a threat on the battlefield. Also, it will count for your bosses. So in a lot of games, you have the trope, oh, they hit 30% of their health threshold, a new um, a new factor of their gameplay, a new skill comes in, a new phase of the boss fight comes in. This is going to help with those scenarios. We picked up that. Increase fire power by 15% of your anomaly power. So late game anomaly power can sit anywhere from like 4,000 to 5,000, depending on where your shards in your armors are focused. If they're focused on anomaly power as opposed to firepower, or like max health and such, this anomaly power is going to be a big number. And so firepower is a multiplicative bonus of for how much your weapons are going to do. So you have weapon damage, firepower buffs that by a set amount. You have skill damage, anomaly power buffs that by a set amount. Multiplicative amount, I should say, based on how much you have. So the more anomaly power you have, the more firepower you're going to have, which means the more weapon damage you're going to have. So kind of, there's going to be some, hopefully some double dipping in here to where buffs are going to happen and you're going to start doing crazy damage with your weapon. And so we're going to pick up increased weapon damage, increased anomaly power, increased anomaly power. Activating explosive skill increases your anomaly power by 12% for 10 seconds. This is big because this makes this go up, which in turn makes our weapon damage go up. So you activate skill, boom, you're getting these buffs. Just like that, you're going to be doing a lot of damage with just your weapons. Plus, your skills, since they're the explosive ones, they're the big boy damage skills. Anything you're throwing out for damage is going to be big. We're going to pick up skill leech here. That way we have some form of sustain during boss fights, because the way you heal with the with this class is you kill things that are marked. Well, if you're fighting a boss and there's no other like small trash enemies around, you're not going to be getting too much health back. So we're going to pick up 6% skill leech here. That way, you know, you fire off and overheat, consume, and do like a 5,000 burst of damage. 6% of that's going to go to your health. Anomaly power, again, increase that, increases your firepower, increase your skill damage. Anomaly power is good. Resistance piercing, resistance and armor piercing. Armor piercing is the armor enemies have against your weapons, and then resistance piercing is stuff against anything anomaly, so skill based, your burns and such. Here we have killing a marked enemy heals you for an additional 15% or 12% of your max health. So this is just to give you a bit more healing. If you don't want to pick this up, if you're like, I already have enough like healing, what you can do instead is you can pick up this Phoenix skill. Upon losing all health, you'll receive a second chance, return to the battlefield with 50% maximum health. Again, if you feel like I'm kind of sitting back, I'm not the one taking a lot of damage, I'm staying up pretty good on my health, I would recommend taking this. I'm hopefully not going to die a lot, so I'm kind of focusing on that. There aren't other too many. I mean, you can go for like a burn damage, a resistance, you can pick up like any of these other ones. I'm just picking up this extra heal because extra sustain, more sustain means I'm more safe. 10% damage against elites, so cool. pretty self-explanatory. 50% school cooldown, so that means that we are sitting at 30% skill cooldown on our explosive skills, which is nice. That takes off about 7-ish, 7 to 8 seconds, depending on the skill. 2% skill damage against marked, and then 30% increased skill damage for our explosive skills. So if you feel like, again, you're kind of not feeling like the skills, then you can take that and you can put this into the Phoenix. You can, yeah, the Phoenix is pretty much the only place you can put it. But I would just recommend doing it because, again, you might not like it ish, you don't really feel like playing around it, but your thermal bomb, your overheat with this is going to do a lot of damage. And so from there, we move on to our Firestorm skill tree. This is going to be all about igniting enemies on fire and burning them. Kind of. For this first skill tree, or for the first build of this tree, burning them is essential, but having the burn last is not. So here we're going to pick up 10% health. We're going to be picking up all these health nodes because that's just how we can progress. 10% health, increased skill cooldown so we can light shit on fire more often, increased health. 30% armor piercing against marked enemies. This is big. 30% of whatever defenses they have against your gun, gone. Bosses, 30% increased damage with your weapon because you're going through 30% of whatever they have built up against you. We're going to increase our burn damage here, increase our health. The moment burn ends on an enemy, inflict Ash. So Ash is a CC. It encases them in rock for 2.5 seconds. It allows you to reposition if you feel like, oh, I'm getting lit up, I need to go somewhere else. If you want to get headshots easy, if they're moving around a lot, this is good. Because we're going to be burning stuff a lot, that means a lot of stuff is going to be getting frozen a lot. And especially if we have overheat and volcanic rounds. Overheat is pretty much the main thing, volcanic rounds is kind of also. But if you have stuff on fire from volcanic rounds, from your phaser beam, from your heat wave, from any of these, then overheat can consume it, and then when it consumes, that ends, and then boom, they're frozen. So it will kind of add a CC element to this overheat skill, if you choose to pick it up. Otherwise, it adds CC to what other skills you have, any other burns you have going on. I like this because it will be a big burst of damage, because a lot of these aren't big bursts. They're like, light them on fire and wait for them to burn out and die. I like this big burst. So that's where that comes in. Increased damage, again, we know what these do. Picked them up last time. So here we're going to go 5% increased weapon damage, 5% anomaly power, 10% health, increased anomaly power, 2.5% for each of these magma golem nodes. So that puts us at an increased 12.5%. Anomaly power, activating any skill increases weapon damage by 20% for 7 seconds. It hasn't been shown whether or not this stacks. So like, if you can activate 3 skills and then boom, stacked, or if it only procs once. I'm guessing it only will proc once. It would be pretty cool if it stacked. So if you activate 3 skills, boom, get 60% increased weapon damage. I doubt it though. I think it's just gonna refresh the 7 seconds. I at least hope it at least refreshes. Pick up health, skill leech, so again, have more sustain, increase health, increase skill leech. Skill leech is doubled when below 30%, 15% school cooldown, Activating an ignite skill increases armor and resistance piercing by 45% for 10 seconds. So with this and this node we picked up earlier, we're sitting at 75% armor piercing with our weapons. That means we are doing 75% increased weapon damage compared to without them. That's almost double. Add in this increased weapon damage right here, you're going to be doing some damage with your weapons. And so that's going to be for the weapon, your weapon focused second tree. This is going to be more of your ability focused, your burn focused tree. We're going to pick up 10% health here, skill leech here, skill cooldown here. If you don't want to go for skill leech here, again, you can kind of go for the armor piercing here. You can go for increased weapon damage here. If you feel like you're getting kind of like blown up, you can increase your armor. You can go for increased damage against burning targets. You can go for extra anomaly power. You can go for pretty much any of these open nodes around here. I don't like resistance nodes for the whole fact of a lot of the stuff that we face and encounter. Dot wise, you pretty much can get rid of. Toxin you get rid of by healing. Fire you roll. Bleed you can stand still for a second. So this isn't the most important. I would much rather pick up increased weapon damage, increased armor, armor piercing, moment of burn ends on enemy, inflict ash. Any of these I would take over that. So you can pick up skill leech, pick up armor piercing. I didn't pick up armor piercing because I'm not going to be focusing as much on weapons. So you could probably pick up increase your armor on pick up skill leech because I want to sustain more. I like sustain. We're gonna pick up 10% health, 10% cooldown across the board for all categories of our all categories. Increase our burn damage, increase our health, weapon power, anomaly power, increase our damage, increase burn duration. This is big because again we're gonna be all about our burns doing a lot. So that means it's gonna be doing a lot for longer. Health, anomaly power, weapon power, increase burn duration. It's gonna be burning for more, longer. 10% health, skill leech. We know all these. We picked up 50% damage against burning targets because again everything's gonna be burning, whereas in the other one we didn't pick it up because we're gonna be kind of more focusing on setting up this ash, even though we're not in the ash breaker. So that's gonna be the general playstyle for that. You probably won't go overheat because again a lot of stuff is gonna be burning. You're gonna want to go your volcanic rounds. You're gonna go your phaser beam. Honestly, heat wave, volcanic rounds, and phaser beam. All three of these will be good. If you get the thermal bomb mod to where it burns anything's left over, it'll do a lot. It'll do a lot. So that's what I would maybe recommend is going volcanic rounds, going a phaser beam, going a thermal bomb, and then picking up the burning anything, burning whatever. Since you have the ignite skill here, you have two of them to increase. And so for the third or fourth, I guess at this point, skill tree, this is going to be pretty similar between these two. It's just whether or not you want to focus on sniper rifles versus auto rifles, or assault weapons, I should say, not just auto rifles. So here we pick up weapon damage, weapon leech, weapon damage, weapon damage, 30% armor piercing, because again, this is going to be this top tree is mainly going to be your weapon focus. There's not a lot of ability damage here because it's the immobilize, which Ash Blast and Feed the Flames, they don't do. Ash Blast doesn't do a lot of damage at all from what we've seen. Feed the Flames can if you're really speccing for it, but at that point you're almost wasting your time. So this is what we're setting up for, is weapon damage, weapon damage, weapon damage. Armor piercing here, again, weapon pierce armor, increase their weapon damage, 10% increased damage against ashed, 10% weapon damage against marked, moment of burns in, inflict ash, we know that. Increase ash duration. So they're going to be frozen for longer, which if we're doing increased damage against ash, we're going to want them to be ashed for longer, that we can get that extra damage. Get use out of that. 10% increased weapon damage against marked. We're going to hit a 40% weapon damage buff on snipers. And then 12% drop rate. So if you're trying to farm a legendary sniper, you're going to want this node active because it'll increase the drop rate for it. This is big. Snipers do a lot. You hit that headshot, that crit multiplier is going to be increased. If you're hitting a 300% crit multiplier sniper, then that crit damage is also going to be buffed by 40%, so you might as well be hitting for like 450 to a 440 percent crit. More armor piercing, more weapon damage, more weapon damage. Ash supply is vulnerable, so vulnerable means that the enemies are going to be taking about 20 to 30% increased damage, which is pretty big. That's your debuff for the enemies plus CC. This is a big pickup. Minus 20% reload time, increased damage against elites, and reduced damage from elites. 30% increased damage from ashed. Activating immobilize skills, increase weapon damage by 60%. So you can kind of tell for all the weapon damage nodes, there's pretty much no increased anomaly or skill leech or skill damage. There's just flat increased damage, which is why you can tell this is screams weapons. So if you look down here, we're sitting at 30% armor piercing, 30% armor piercing against marked. So we're sitting at 60% armor piercing with just our weapons, which is pretty big. Pretty big. Plus, we increase damage against ashed, against elites. So if you take in armor piercing, so our damage is going to be doing 60% more because 60% of their resistances are gone. Cool. We're doing 50% against ashed enemies, especially if they're elites. Our weapon damage is increased by 16% flat, 40% against marked enemies, 40% with a sniper. So we're at 40, 80, 96, 136, 146, 140% increased weapon damage if, say, they are an ashed elite, and then ignoring 60% of their resistances. Which, if you're a sniper, you pop a headshot on all these like frozen targets, a lot of what you're going to be shooting is going to die very fast. You go pop, 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 especially if it's like a burst fire sniper, anything with these, or a high crit multiplier weapon, boom, dead. So, say if you're like, sniper, I don't have that good of aim, I just want to spray and pray, I just want to shoot shit with a shotgun, whatever, then this build will kind of be a bit more for you. We're going to pick up the same thing across the board almost. We're not going to pick up a weapon damage. We're not going to pick up these armor piercing for down here. we're gonna instead pick up this assault weapon damage increase and drop rate increase. We're gonna pick up weapon leech here, and then activating immobilize skill doubles your weapon leech. So you can have like, depending on a weapon, you can have like 20% weapon leech on a weapon. We're sitting here with 10% here, so that can be anywhere from like 30% increase, 30% weapon leech to 60% weapon leech, which you're going to be healing a lot all the time. If you feel like, again, I'm not really struggling with sustain at all, you can pick these two off and go for the armor piercing, and do even more damage. But with being assault weapons, you're going to be up closer, you're going to be more in the fray than if you were a sniper, which is why I take these two. And then from there, it's pretty much the same all around. We pick up the ash, applies vulnerable. So yeah, these two are the only difference. And with that, that's my builds for the Pyromancer, because that's the ones I'm going to be maining. I have all the mods for them so far in the demo, which is just scratching the surface of what we've seen for their mod capabilities. I will put this link, I'll link all the builds in the description, and then I'll just put a link to the builder instead if y'all want to mess around, if y'all want to make your own builds. Comment like what you thought, what you think your favorite claps are going to be. Reply with comments for your links for your builds, and I'll check them out. If I see anything like really crazy and wonky, I might like do a review for it once the full game comes out. Be like, hey, this person had some 10,000 IQ moves. And yeah, and so with that, that'll be it for me. I'm excited for the game. It's March 27th as of recording this. The game comes out on April 1st. If you're on PC, you just gotta wait until the release, until it comes out. If you're on console, it will be a rolling midnight release, which means that if you're in the US, you should set your console location and time to New Zealand, which means that you can play it if you are on the West Coast a full 19 hours early, East Coast 16 hours early, and then if you're in between there, anytime between those. With that, I hope y'all guys enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments what y'all think about, again, what your prospects for Outriders are, if you're excited for it, if you're not, if you're just gonna chill, and hopefully stick around for my next videos once the game comes out. Drop in at the stream, Twitch TV/FailureAtLiving, trying to get to affiliate. And with that, hope you guys have a good day. Again, I'm Failure at Living, y'all aren't, y'all keep living. Goodbye.